Anyone else coming in? Okay, welcome to this session on soul relationships. This is probably one of my favorite subjects because it has probably been a topic that I have had to work on and really create in my life. It wasn't something that came easily. So this is why I'm really loving to be able to share my information with people. So as I said before, we're going to be looking at why do we attract the wrong relationships, or how can we improve the current relationships that we're in? And I think in this day and age, soul relationships are so needed to get to create relationships where we're connecting with people on a soul level. So that's what I want to talk about today. How do we do that? Why have we not been able to create that in the past? And soul relationships aren't only romantic relationships, they're also friendships. They're also maybe relationships you have with your pet. There could be relationships that you have with your children. So it's all on different levels. Obviously, when we talk about it, especially being Valentine's Day today, we are talking about soul partners that we're choosing to live our life with. So that's what I want to go through. So we'll start sharing my screen and we'll just wait for a few other people to join. So I've just done a little PowerPoint so we can, let's go to current slide. Okay, soul relationship. So I always do this before I start any presentation, is that I want people to open their mind. So clear whatever you think that you know about this topic, whatever you believe to be true, just press pause and just open your mind to receive new information. And at the end of this session, you may choose to take that on board, or you may choose to reject it. It doesn't feel like truth to you, and that's all fine. It's just that while we're doing it, let's just open our mind to actually receive that all things are possible, that I can change, that if I plant the seed, that I can create something new. So that's the opening for today. So my goal today is to help define what a soul relationship is, and also gain clarity on what you would like to attract in your life. And then at the end of the session, I'm going to do a recode where we will release resistance to what you're trying to bring into your life. Now, whether it is more relationships, whether it's a romantic relationships, or whether it is actually improving your current relationship. So that's what we're going to be looking and doing a change process, a healing process at the end of the session. So that's something to sort of look forward to. So for those of you that don't know me, because I know I've got a few new people on, is that my name is Verena White. I'm a kinesiologist. I'm a transformational coach. I'm a mother. I'm married to the love of my life. And I'm also a Reiki practitioner and a Theta healer. So that is my credentials, but what gives me the criteria to talk about soul relationships, and I think this is the most important thing, is that I'm a seeker of love and connection and wholeness. And that has been a life journey of mine, to seek love, connection, and wholeness. And that is the core basis of any great relationship, be it with anyone. And we are here to have this physical experience, as I believe we're spiritual beings having a physical experience. And how do we do that? How do we move through this physical world and create fulfillment and bring joy? Is actually through our relationships that we create in the world. Our relationships and our connection to others is what brings us fulfillment. And so now it's about to look at these differently. So the first thing, even though I've written wholeness last, I actually think wholeness is the most important aspect of creating relationships. So on my journey, giving you a little bit of background on where I'm from. So I wasn't great at relationships, romantic relationships, that is. I think friendships were always easy for me. And there's probably a lot of you that probably feel the same way, whereas romantic relationships, there seems to be a different premise. There is more attachment to it. And as we will talk about the dream spell, you'll understand why that is. So on my journey of seeking love, connection, and wholeness, I did everything that probably most of you done. I've done on my personal development journey. Louise Hay, Abraham Hicks, Joe Dispenza, Greg Braden, Wayne Dyer. I did the Super Soul Sundays with Oprah at a time. So I was looking for answers, and I was looking to find my tribe. I was looking to find connection. And what I did find was that the premise that I was looking because I wasn't whole was actually one of the biggest problems with actually finding connection. Even in just normal friendships, to feel that feeling of lack and feeling not enough. And that is the belief system about being not whole. And that is where we need, the first place we start in creating any relationships is self-love. How do we create self-love? How do we look at changing that in our life? So once I actually connected to myself and actually really loved who I was, and then romantic love did come into my life. I did find the love of my life. But that was after, I didn't find romantic love in that way until 43. So it wasn't something that, I met the love of my life when I was 18 and we lived happily ever after. It was a journey of other relationships. I was married before. And so it was through those journeys of different relationships and learnings that I actually found wholeness and found self-love within myself. So the missing puzzle is, and this is the premise that I want to get clear, is that you're not broken. I think so many people who are looking for love or coming out of relationships, it's like, I need to fix myself. I need to fix myself, that there's something wrong with me first before I can attract that relationship. And that's one premise. And I guess the other premise is, and I think we all know that now from the movie Jerry Maguire, that you complete me was probably the most misinformation, can I use that now? Misinformation that you can receive, that I need someone to complete me. And as we'll work through that structure of that I'm not enough, that I'm not whole, that I need someone to complete me, is actually setting you up for a structure of relationships that are not soul relationships. They could be considered, I'm going to use this term, and it may be a different term to what you use, but twin flame. So a twin flame to me are those relationships that you come together, but they burn out. And I use my reference. There is a video by Matt Kahn. He's a spiritual teacher and channeler, that he did a wonderful video where he explains soul contracts, soulmates, and twin flames. I'll actually put that on my Facebook page. I'll put it in the comments after this recording so you can actually look that up. Which twin flames are those relationships that we go into that actually help us heal unresolved fear or unresolved aspects of love about ourselves. They're the relationships that trigger us. They're the relationships that actually push us to expand spiritually and grow. So they're not always they're more than often painful relationships, or they're challenging relationships. They even could be relationships of trauma. But these relationships are the ones that actually push you or get you to make decisions to transcend your current state. So so twin flames, when I'm making reference to it, I just have a question. They're our exes. That's right, Joy. They are wait there. I'll just close that. That's the other name for twin flames, are our exes. I love that. So it is, that's our exes. They're the people that have challenged us. They're people we can actually have put that on with love. We can send them love for the challenges that we received, and as long as we've come out of it and see that they are the relationships that we can expand from. And that's when we're looking at life from the observer, as what I call it, the superconscious. And I'll go into a little bit more detail about that before we do the recode. Oh, Alison, I think you're just off mute at the moment. Okay. So loving yourself and being the person you want in a relationship is the first step. It's the key. Not always the easiest one, and easier said than done. But when we're looking at what kind of relationship we want to attract, what kind of relationship do we want to be in, we have to start with us first. We have to start with, because all the relationships, like I said, twin flames, they are the relationship that trigger us, that trigger the unresolved emotions that we haven't dealt with yet. So instead of blaming, obviously when there's trauma, there's a different aspect to it, but it's still, how do we respond to this challenging situation that we have found ourselves in? And how can I love myself more from this experience? You know, maybe loving yourself more that you actually survived it. Maybe loving yourself more that you found your power to leave a toxic relationship, or you left a relationship that was not serving you, was not helping you grow. So this is where we start with our soul relationship, is actually the wholeness within us, to find our soul relationship with ourselves. So self-love is honoring yourself. And once we honor ourselves and we treat ourselves as we want to be treated, then that we're actually putting out into the field a precursor on what we expect in relationships. So when I talk about in society, I call it the dream spell. Actually, I don't want to go there yet. I call it the dream spell of where we, what is put on us. So self-love, like us looking after ourselves, especially as women, often is pushed aside. It's not considered important, or we show real love when we're giving everything to everybody else. Now, love and all things in life is a flow of energy. It's a flow in and it's a flow out. So as we can give wholly and unconditionally, we also need to be able to receive love and receive unconditionally as well. It's not a one-way street. So where do we start? We start, well, how can I honor myself? How can I work on and look at the triggers within me to create wholeness and treat myself? So when we're looking at, before we even starting creating relationships, it is like, well, how can I be whole within myself? And what relationships in my life can I interact in that way now? And it could be, how can I interact in a loving, unconditionally way to my friends, to my family, or even, you know, I've mentioned before, pets, because that is how we know what real love is, because it's unconditional. There's no expectations. So if we're trying to tap into a feeling or emotion, we can use the love for our animals as one way to do it. We can use the love for our children another way. But it's like, if we need to find out how do I feel love? How can I tap into that emotion of the end result? We find the relationships that are working in our life. And if you struggle to find those relationships, just break it down to maybe experiences that you've had, or maybe even observing, so you can sort of feel into an end result of love. So I wanted to talk about the human journey. So where do we get this? Where do we lose our wholeness? And what are the things that we need? Why are we creating relationships that aren't working for us? Well, it starts on the human journey. And this is sort of a diagram that makes reference to the hero's journey of Joseph Campbell. But the human journey, we are born beautiful, creative spirits. And because that's what we are, we're creative beings. And we're born beautiful, creative spirits. And then as we come out into the world and we have our parents and we have different life experiences, we go through what is called the wounded individualism. So we have experiences and we create belief systems. Now, these belief systems that could be of things that we've created for ourselves by how we see the world through the eyes of a toddler, or they could be belief systems that have been passed down through our family or our caregivers. So as children, especially toddlers between the ages of 0 and 7, we're observing the world and finding meaning in that world. And so where do all our relationships start? It does start with our family, and it does start with our parents. So when we're looking at why maybe, for example, our romantic relationships aren't working, we can always look and observe, what did we observe in the home? What unresolved fear or issue were we observing that we created meaning to? Like if you're observing that, well, when I do what I'm told, I am shown love. So then that creates a very submissive state that this is what love is. So you can see that a lot of your beliefs around relationships come through the eyes of a 4-year-old. And you can actually even understand that your parents are living that way too. So not depending on whatever has happened, your parents were probably doing what they knew, and that's no excuse if anyone experienced any trauma. But we're looking at that people are acting and reacting from a space of what they know, and that could be, it could be toxic, it could be just sort of thoughtless. And our parents were doing whatever they knew at the time, and what they were going from the belief systems from the same time, probably 0 to 7. So you're looking at creating relationships from that place. So this is how we can deconstruct, you know, where did I lose my connection to spirit? Where did I lose my connection to me feeling as a whole being? And also when we understand that, we can actually start understanding our triggers a lot better. We can start understanding why we've had the relationships we've had, what unresolved issue is showing up. Once you're aware of that, you can actually, you may even have enough awareness to resolve that issue, or you'll know what to do when it comes up next time, if that makes sense. Sorry, someone just dropped out. So when we, it's the wounded through individualism through to age 7. And then, like I said, we make up belief structures and we orientate our life and structure to those belief systems. And I'll go into that in more detail next. So our belief creates our reality. So how we see ourselves, our identity, our beliefs around our identity is the big one, especially in relationships, is I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, or I don't trust myself, or I don't trust the world. Especially, let's say, if a parent had done something where you didn't trust them, or they betrayed your trust in a way that, you know, a child would look at it, then they may then create similar relationships like that in their life. Now, just because that is what you've decided in this one small section of your being, this one small section, it doesn't mean we can't change it. And we can change it at any time, and it doesn't matter where you are in your life, we can shift it. Awareness and growth doesn't know age, it just knows the process that we need to go through. So like I said, why are we attracting the wrong relationships? Structure, which is like the belief systems that have created structure. Because our goal, because our identity doesn't match what we want to create. If we have an identity that I'm not enough, that I'm not capable, I'm not lovable, or anything like that, that's going to make it very difficult for you.
No one's aware of it.
Hello?
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, you just might, I'll just mute. I don't know who's on the CA iPhone. Oh, that's good, got off. Okay, so beliefs about yourself and relationships and unresolved fear. So they're all the things that happen through that human journey that I was talking about. So why do we not get what we want? We've got the wrong structure. We don't go for what we love. And sometimes this is in relationships, we go for what we know, which is familiar, or we settle, or we just believe we can't have what we want. And often we're giving our power away. So we're giving our power away to the relationship, to the other person in the relationship, to an outside circumstance. So to create something new in our life, and this can be replicated in all aspects of life. Today we're talking about relationships, but you can replicate this to do with your finances, you can replicate it to do with your health, and also, of course, relationships, because they're the three big things that people come and see me about. That they've got issues with their career and finances, or they feel like they've got limiting or they're stuck, their relationships, be it romantic or family, and their health. And they are the big things because they are where we are most interacting in relationships and where our triggers come out. So what do we focus on? We focus on getting into a creative structure, which I'm going to talk about now, and we get a true result, a true end result. A true end result is choosing something because I love it. So when we're talking about relationships, what would we say? We'd say, well, I want a relationship because I don't want to be lonely, or I want a relationship because I want to feel safe and secure, or I want a relationship because I want to be like my friends, or, you're trying to fit into an outside. So that is one, giving your power away. And it's also not a true choice. It's not aligned to your true nature. It's not you being a creator. So when we go into soul relationships, it's really coming from a place of spiritual growth, and one, because I love it. I'm here to have a physical experience, and I want to be in a relationship to help move me along that spiritual experience. So when I talk about the dream spell, when we're talking about where our beliefs and why the structure that we put ourselves in, like as I said before, 0 to 7, but also those belief systems come from your ancestry, come from culture. So especially people that come from certain cultures, they will have a real specific, this is what a relationship looks like. This is what it has to be. And they could be the roles that you have as a mother or wife. And these ancestral and cultural beliefs are passed down for we've tested up to about 7, could be more generational beliefs that are passed down. And especially a lot of women with money and other aspects in relationship, even though they don't feel that or have had that experience in their core in this lifetime, there's belief systems and sabotage programs that have been passed down through ancestral and cultural beliefs. So there's also, the idea of what we see in movies about what love is. Example, I use the example of what was that Tom Cruise movie? Anyway, You Complete Me. And we look at these, that everyone there, people are fighting. There's, they need to find each other to complete each other, or the other person needs to save someone. And this goes back to fairy tales as well. Like the man needs to save the woman, and the woman needs to nurture and support the man. So there's not a free flow of energy there. And certain of the aspects of those relationships may work for certain people. But then this is about finding your truth and what you truly love. And when you're living and creating a reality that is aligned to someone else's truth, that's where you lose fulfillment and things like that. So the 6 sabotaging beliefs that cause a structure that stops us from creating the life that we love, stops us having the relationships that we deserve and that we're meant to have, are the beliefs around I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I don't belong. That's a big one. So, you know, feeling that you don't belong, and especially with relationships within families and friends, that one can act and be activated in your identity. I feel insignificant or invisible. And that also relates to trust. So if you're in a relationship where you feel insignificant, that will play a real role in lack of fulfillment and living your true purpose. And if you have that belief about yourself that I'm insignificant and invisible, then how are you ever going to find or see or meet that person that you desire when your belief about yourself is they can't see me? So that is where the identity doesn't match the end result. I'm insignificant. So how can someone then, when your desire is to be valued and in a loving relationship, do you see how they don't match? And how that's where we need to work on the identity to create you to be a match to that end result. So, you know, I don't have the capacity or I'm not capable. If you've had experiences where every relationship you've seen, whether it be in your family or the relationships that you've experienced in your current life, have not worked, and you have a belief that all men are bastards, or there's no good men out there, and I hear that a lot, there's no good men out there, and you know, so they've got this negative aspect about relationships. It's going to be very difficult to then create a loving soul relationship when you feel that it's not even possible. So, and that is also when capacity, I don't have the capacity, is like to allow space in your life for someone to join you, you know. And for that is also when we do the recode, it's about cord cutting, it's about closing old contracts with old lovers, old marriages, relationships, and that could be in this lifetime and beyond. And it's also about what was the other thing I wrote down? Sort of and soul fragments. And I'll go into details about that too. Like when we're in relationships, we give part of our soul away, especially if they're sexual relationships or intimate relationships. We take parts of the partner we're with, and they take parts of us. So it's about bringing all of what is ours back to us, washed with love and light, and bringing that back to us, and sending what we don't want back to where they came from. So that is another aspect of releasing the resistance around creating that life. So as I spoke about structure, and I spoke about identity, and identity is probably your beliefs create your identity, your personality, and that creates your reality. So if you have an identity that is scarcity, there's no like, I don't know anyone who's in a good relationship, or all marriages end in divorce, or all men are bastards, or you know, even if you've got other issues, or the relationship that you're told you need to have or want is not what you want, it's not a true choice for you, so you're trying to live someone else's life. So deep down your identity is I'm not worthy, I'm this person, and then your desired result is something else. So it's like you're pursuing you know, a dream that isn't yours. You're going on a path that wasn't yours to have. Like, you know, you may want to have a relationship that is very simple, and you want that list, you know, the list you make of ideal partners, and then you have that list. And I'd actually test people to have a look at the list and how much of that is true to you, or how much of that list is satisfying the beliefs and collective dream spell of others, that we believe that's the kind of partner we want. So using a personal example, my current husband, who is all the, like, we have a beautiful soul relationship. And when I looked, I actually wrote a list, well, back in 2000, I think I was just coming out of my first marriage, and I'd written a list, and he does meet all of them. But then there were things on that list that weren't, they were sort of material things that probably weren't something that I needed or wanted. It wasn't a true choice. It was more of a collective that would be a good thing to have, or other people that would help me fit in or belong to a certain group if I had that. And sometimes we meet and turn away people that, because they're not part of this strict list that we've made, that they fit this this image that we believe that we needed in a partner that has been given to us either by family, friends, or, you know, let's say movies. We turn that away, and we actually don't allow us to experience maybe something different and something really beautiful. So when our identity does not match the life that you want, you're in a no-win situation. And this is where we have to look at it's like changing our identity. And we can do that through recode, we can do that through awareness, we can do that through healing the inner child, the aspect of us that's the perfectionist. Because, you know, and that belief system, I'm not enough, I'm not whole, that's where we're onto that belief that we need to fix ourselves. And this is the problem with the personal development world today, is that we think we need to fix ourselves first before we can have what we want. So every time we go and reach for what we want, we feel like we're not a match to it, so we have to go and fix ourselves. And this is where we come back to the point that we're not broken, and that we're born beautiful, spiritual, whole beings, that there's nothing to fix. We just need to unwind the belief systems that we have taken through that time of individualism, through that period of 0 to 7. So talking about a soul relationship. So we've talked about why you haven't been able to attract it, why the structure has been so important. And part of the aspect of creation is to get really clear about what you want. Because this is why, and this comes back to true choices and using things like ineffective choices. So if we're choosing and being clear, I want to attract this partner in my life, and you have, you know, and you're not really clear about what you want, then you're actually creating a structure where, you know, you are missing on fulfillment. You are like creating, you know, if you want someone that you can really connect with and grow with, then that's what a soul relationship is. So this is what I want to talk to you about, so you can get really clear. So when we do the recode at the end, if a soul relationship is something that you want to attune yourself to and attract in your life, because they are challenging relationships, but they're fulfilling relationships, and they're deep, and they do help us grow. When we are here, when we come to this earth plane to actually connect and have soul relationships, it does add so much value, and we ascend so much faster through spiritual growth with soul relationships. And that could be with your tribe, that could be with a group of girlfriends, that could be with a group of other friends that you're with that all have similar beliefs. They can help you ascend and transcend your current state and grow spiritually, and that's soul relationships. And when you have it in one aspect of your life, for example, if you have a group of friends that you have a great soul relationship with, then, you know, that may be all you need. Because if you're in a marriage where you have different you have different interests, which comes up a lot, maybe the soul relationships that help you grow will be your friends. And then you can create a different kind of relationship in your marriage. Some people want a soul relationship in their marriage where they grow together and they're creating together. And so this is the premise of a soul relationship. So the first one is that you're not trying to fix each other. And especially, I know I probably a few of you that are on this call today are empaths, and that we feel the need to fix our partners. I went through that myself. There's a need that where there is that unresolved fear, desire in yourself, you then attract a partner that has that you need to fix, and you believe that will fill you up. So the first premise is a soul relationship is that it's not about fixing anybody. You're just meeting together. And you may have baggage, you may be even a little broken or a little unsure, but you have the premise and the intention to grow and be better and learn and expand. So you don't have to be perfect when you meet. You don't have to be perfect when two people come together. When you think about different friendships, you come together and you share stories and you help grow together. Soul relationships help you bring balance to each other. So where there is, where you are feeling like you have triggers and things that need to be resolved, your soul partner will come in and help you balance that. Your soul partner will come in and help you see. There's a great metaphor. If you're in a storm and you're being battered by the storm, a friend or another type of partner will come in and just try and protect you from the storm. They will try and cover you up so you don't feel the pain, if that makes sense. A soul partner will come in and help you understand why you're in the storm. Does that make sense? And if you have, I'll just put the chat. Yeah, bringing out the best in each other. So I didn't see the chat come up before. But yeah, so bringing out the best in each other, that is the beautiful aspect. So I'd heard that metaphor. I won't own it because I actually heard it off what's his name? Gary Zukov, who was the author of Seed of the Soul. So it's like when you're in the storm, your soul partner, when you're in pain or you're being triggered by some unresolved fear or emotion or situation, you're being triggered by family, you're being triggered at work, they will help you resolve that. They don't take your pain. They can't take your pain. They don't try and protect you from it. They help you grow and expand in that space. So if that's something that you want to attract in your life, it is about spiritual growth. You're actually joining together to have spiritual growth. And that may trigger, because that's what you also do for them. When they're struggling, when they're going through difficulty, you don't try and protect them and hold them and cover them up so they can't feel the pain. You help them understand why the pain's there in the beginning. And through that experience, you grow as a couple, you grow as a friendship group, and you grow so you can expand spiritually. And that's what we're here for. We're here to be creators, and we're here to grow and expand spiritually and have this physical experience. And that's why soul relationships are so beautiful, to help you have this physical experience. So, and the other one is you're not responsible for their happiness. This sort of goes in tune with what I've just said also. And so you can't, when you start putting blame on the other person in the relationship, then whether, if it's something that they don't understand why they've done, why is it triggering you? And they will help you understand that, they can't be responsible for your happiness. That's about you giving your power away. In the book, he was the author of The 4 Agreements, and he wrote another book about love, which has skipped my mind. But if you look up the author of Four Agreements, he wrote another one about love. And there's a story in that book where he talks about this couple that came together and they were living, you know, as individuals, because we're born individually, we have individual desires, we have individual experiences. But when you come together and the person, they use the metaphor is giving the partner their heart. And that sounds like a beautiful love song or something like that, but that is giving your power away. You can be in a loving, respectful, supportive relationship without giving your heart over to someone. And that responsibility on the other person in that relationship can be too much. Vice versa, if someone has given you their heart, you know, and that could be where you're in the experience of, I'm not happy in this relationship, but I love this person. I'm not in love with this person. I love this person. I don't want to hurt them. So I'm going to stay in this relationship because I am the keeper of their heart. And that's a lot of responsibility to give to someone. And in the end, there's always that feeling that you're not equal. When you give your power away, and that could be for whatever reason, for giving your heart away, or you believe that person is superior to you, or you believe they are inferior to you, it's not equal. And there is a mismatch of power. And when there's a mismatch of power, there's a misflow of energy, and that is a twin flame relationship. That is a structure of learning something in that trigger. Why do you feel inferior? Why do you feel superior in this person? And why are you in a relationship where you're feeling superior to someone? And I mean, for example, my first marriage was exactly like that. Like that, I felt inferior and my ex-husband felt superior. And that's what you get very much in narcissistic and empathic relationships. I'm not going to go down that path, but that is where we get our power back. And to know that we just need to wind back those belief systems, and we don't have to stay in that structure. And where you see there's a mismatch of power, that is a great observation that maybe you're in a relationship that has a limited time frame, or there is an opportunity for growth. And it's not saying that in that relationship you can't come to be equals. In my experience, it's probably rare, but it can happen for sure as two souls come together to choose to grow and expand. So, and the final one is to support each other's spiritual growth without attachment. So this is where you support the other person to be their best self, to pursue their dreams. I see in a lot of relationships where, especially if the woman is moving towards a more spiritual path, which a lot of women do, coming towards the age of 40, they start to become seekers and wanting to go down a spiritual path, and their partner, be it their husband or boyfriend or life partner, they feel threatened. In a soul relationship, you don't feel threatened about someone's spiritual growth. You're part of it. You're their cheerleader. You're their cheer squad. You want them to pursue something that makes their heart sing. You want to support them. So this is where you can be in another twin flame relationship where they're not supporting your spiritual growth, and vice versa. You know, if your partner wanted, for example, the male in the relationship, if you have the role identities, the male is the provider, and he wants to quit his job to, let's say, become a yoga instructor, and he's in corporate, so there would be a sort of a difference in salary. There could be that you don't want to support that dream because you've got an attachment to how things were. So in a soul relationship, you're supporting each other's dreams. You're supporting what they love to do. You're supporting it because when we're living on that spiritual plane, when we're about spiritual growth and expansion, we understand that we have no attachment and we can follow our desires to be creators. And that's where two people in a soul relationship can be creators together. So do we have any questions about that? Do we want to talk about anything? Is there anyone who has anything they want to share? No? Okay, cool. I'll just keep going. And because we will do I'm going to go into now talking about how we recode and how we can release the resistance to why we don't attract these types of relationships. And I think the reason I went through a lot of detail what a soul relationship is that I don't think we have clear outline of what it is, because what we're given in our stories and in our movies, they don't always represent that type of relationship, because we feed off conflict and drama and passion and intensity, whereas a true soulmate, a true soul relationship is not necessarily, it can be very passionate but it's balanced. It's where you sort of move through life together, and you can, so it doesn't have that thing that probably people are interested in movies. So but not to say it doesn't have passion or intensity, because that's up to each individual what they choose and what they want to create in their life. They can have as intense and passionate as they want. And, that could be just a fast moving relationship where you're both like after spiritual growth and moving with each other, but to know that you are individuals on a separate path, that you're just choosing to help each other on that separate path. And what I want to is everyone has soulmates, everyone. And there's multiple soulmates. There's not one person that you have to find. And I think that's a fallacy. I think when you become aligned to that true self, to your true nature, that you will start to meet and get into an alignment to meet either the group of people you want to, like a tribe of people that you want to be with, or you'll meet that person. And sometimes in the most unlikely places. And that's where we let ourselves be open. But when we are chasing something, that's coming from a vibration of lack. It's coming from a vibration that we don't have enough time, or that I need it now. So that is the fine line of attracting something. It's to be it now, to be in that place where I'm not attached to it because I know it's coming. You already feel that love and acceptance and wholeness now. And that's called what we call the wizard's gate, when you've got no attachment and you've got no resistance. So you're just ready for it to arrive at your speed. And that's a hard one to come with, especially if your desire is very strong. And that would be to understand the desire. Maybe you want to have a child and you feel like you need to find a partner to have that. It's like you need to sort of get into a place of letting go, surrendering. And that's where we have to let go of the environment, that it needs to be a certain, where we make all these rules how things need to be. So we need to let go of the environment, certain behaviors, like, if you are in a point of feeling like you need to really make this happen now, so there's a sense of urgency, you need to let go of the beliefs. And then we unwind things like the family entanglements. Like, for example, we have contracts with our family. We have contracts with our parents. And for example, if your mother was in a certain type of relationship, your contract may be, well, I won't have a better relationship than you, so you don't feel bad. That may be a family contract that you made when you were a child, when you felt the energy of unhappiness in your home. You may have made a contract like that. And many of us do make contracts with our mother, father, that limit our growth and expansion. And also the stories we tell ourselves, that the stories that there's no good men, I'm single and I'm this, or I'm happy. If you're telling the story that I'm happy being single and I'm happy being all of this, like what was their movie? I think there was a movie and this woman built a house. And so she showed it that she only put in one basin. These stories that you tell yourself when your true desire is that you want connection, love, and wholeness. The stories that we tell ourselves are very powerful. They're like spells. They're like, the stories are what are our metaphors. And so what are we telling our unconscious mind? The sabotage patterns, the rules we say that the person must be this, this, and this. Some people have very strict rules, and you will see that it'll be very limited for them to find this soul relationship because they're not open to something showing up that is unique. And of course, we've spoken about our identity, how we see ourselves, and your feeling of incompleteness, which I've spoken about, wholeness. So how do we do it? So this is the process that I'm going to do today. So those of you that have worked with me before know about the recode, and those of you that are new, I will let you know about the recode process. And it's about recoding our memories. It's about recoding our three consciousness. So when I say we have three memories, we have three consciousness. And this is what it is. We have the conscious mind, we have the unconscious, and we have the superconscious. So our conscious mind is the part of us that knows we want a different experience. We know we want a different life, and we're swinging like a pendulum between polarities, that this is something I want, this is something I don't want. So it's the yin and yang, it's the light and dark. We're swinging between that, and where we choose to focus our attention is then what we transmit to the unconscious mind. So if we, and it's what we're observing also. So if we're with the relationships, I want a relationship. And then you're swinging and you're focusing on, I don't have a relationship. Then that will come to the unconscious, and the unconscious mind will give all the reasons why you don't have a relationship to affirm what is happening in your reality. Your conscious mind is also the part of you that wants to choose better. It's the conscious part of you that feeds the desire. I'm observing this situation. I don't like it. I want it to be better. I want a different experience. I want to observe something different. And then it goes to the unconscious mind. And the unconscious mind, I actually see the unconscious mind as more ego. I need to change that in the slides. But if we look at the ego being the unconscious mind is limited. It's the egoic and the limited perception of ourselves. It's the part of us that is like a computer program. So all the belief systems from our human journey, everything is put in the unconscious mind. And when we choose something in our consciously say, I want this to be different, I want this, we go to the unconscious mind, and the unconscious mind will say, yes, you can have that. Yes, that's a good idea. And then it starts filtering for experiences, belief programs on how you can have it. And that's why we end up affirming all of our limiting beliefs, because it goes through its little filing cabinet and it pulls out that, or relationships don't work. Remember that last time that you had that relationship. Remember what happened. Remember that person cheated on you. Remember that person, did wrong by you, or you didn't love that person and you felt, it was sad, it was empty, or, that person was this, or this is how you felt in that relationship. You felt more lonely, like or do you remember what it was like with your mother and father? So your unconscious mind will then feed back to you all the limiting beliefs. So most of us are living just between these two, our conscious and unconscious, and we're in this battle of, yes, I want this, no, you can't have this, or yes, I want this, okay, you can have that. And then we take a couple of steps, and then the old identity or beliefs kick in and you go back to where you started from. So you're oscillating. Now, what we don't do, we forget, and this is about our remembering, is that we are unlimited beings. We are super conscious. We are source energy. We are an aspect of the divine, and we have access to this at any time. Now, I have someone else on the call, Joy, who's a theta healer. So in theta healing, when we go up to the 7th plane, that is the same thing as the superconscious. It's like you're going to a higher place of existence. You know, you can call it your higher self, you can call it source energy, you can call it your universal field. It doesn't matter, because it's all the same. It's the unlimited part of us. And this is where we gain access to wisdom. This is where we change our belief systems. So part of the superconscious is, one, to be the observer of experience. It's the part of you that knows everything that you've ever done, not only in this lifetime, or your ancestral beliefs, or past life, your soul beliefs. Everything is in this field, and we have access to it. But it's just observing. The superconscious isn't getting involved in your physical experience. It's just observing. But also to remember, this is where we started as source consciousness before we chose to come here. So it's just observing our experience. The other role of the superconscious is that, I'm just going to move this. The other role of the superconscious, now I've lost it, sorry, is, okay, have I stopped sharing the screen? Is information. We gather information in this field. This is the place where we get our intuition, where we gain insight. So these are all the aspects of the superconscious, and this is where we gain information, we gain insight, we tap into our intuition and have our inner guidance. This is where we tap into that higher part of ourselves. And number 3 is that the superconscious, the field, the 7th plane, this higher state of existence that we all have access to, gives instructions to the subconscious. The subconscious will take instructions from the superconscious, and this is where we use terms like I command, do a change. Like, this is where we can change the beliefs and release the resistance to what has prevented us from creating the life that we love, creating the relationships we want, creating the abundance we want, creating the health we want. It's all in the field, and this is where we give instructions. And this is, as me as a practitioner, and I know Joy does it when she does theta healing, we are the witness, and we're witnessing that change happening. Now, depending on how much resistance you have, depending on how long this program has been active, the resistance may take longer to release, but you will find some relief. You will find some relief. So it's like, imagine a river that has boulders in it that is stopping the flow of water. As we go through the recode and we do the work through, consistent work through meditations and other tools that we use, it actually starts removing those boulders so the water can flow freely. And through doing this work, you will get to a stage where you will have free flowing water. You will have flow of energy. So you're moving towards that end result that you want. So the reason I'm going through what I'm doing here is because when we do the recode, your self-conscious needs to understand how it works. Otherwise, it won't accept any changes. And the 5 steps is we're going to choose our end result. So today I would assume that we're choosing the end result of a soul partnership. And so now I've given you ideas and the clarity of what a soul partnership looks like. So we're going to go into that end result. We're going to feel that emotion of the end result. And this is where I was talking about before with self-love. This is, who are you in the end result? Are you a person of self-empowerment, of self-love? And if you need to feel into that love, then use other relationships in your life that are working so you can feel that love and warmth, that unconditional feeling. So we move into the end result. And then we come back to where we are now. And then that creates a structure. And I call it a quantum GPS. It's like, this is where I want to go. I want this love. I want this soul relationship. This is where I am now. And this is where it's different. So we're creating a map. We're creating a map in the field for the superconscious to take us to. So this is the difference between other kind of manifesting, is that we choose this end result and we don't anchor it in the present. We don't anchor it in the present. So this is why we go, this is what I want. This is where I'm at. And we ask, then go to the field, or I go to the field and observe with your permission, everyone on the call, their permission to observe their resistance, and then go through the recode of asking you to recode and release some of that resistance that you're willing to do in the best and highest way. The resistance that you're ready to let go of. So that is how that works. So this is the current reality. This is where you want. The resistance here is your identity, your environment, family, beliefs, all of that stuff. And we're asking the superconscious. This is why this method is a bit easier, because it can happen. Beliefs can be changed instantly when we are coming from the top down. When we're coming from the superconscious to give instructions, we can start changing things a lot faster. And then through action, we start to train our unconscious that, this is actually my new state of being. So there's obviously more. This isn't a miracle cure. This is why I work with my clients anywhere from 3 months to 12 months to get them into that creative state, to create those themselves, to get into that self-love state, to get themselves to be it before they see it, to be self-love, to be empowered, to be that woman, that man at the end of that desired result. So this is the process we're going to do today. So if everyone is ready, we will start. And I'll get you to get a pen and paper out. And what I want you to do is that I want you to close your eyes. If you have any questions, I'm just going to take off, stop sharing. If you have any questions, type them into the chat and I will answer. But what I want you to do is, if you can, get a pen and paper. If not, you can just use your mind's eye. And I want you to think about that end result. I want you to think about that relationship that you want to create, that you want to bring into your life, that soul relationship, that loving partner who's there to walk with you and help you to work with you and support you on your journey of spiritual growth, to support you to become a creator, and you're going to be supporting them becoming a creator. So I want you to close your eyes and I want you to go into that end result. I want you to go into that end result and I want you just to write down, and if you don't have a pen and paper, just picture it in your mind's eye. I want you to write down the emotions you feel in that end result. What are the emotions that you feel in that end result? Is it love, joy, peace? You may feel calm, you may feel validated, you may feel adored, accepted. If you want to share any of it, you can type it in the chat, the emotions that come up with your end result. So this beautiful feeling, so just to feel into that end result. Maybe you feel self-empowered. Maybe you feel whole. That would be a beautiful way to feel in that end result. To actually tap into that feeling of being whole, of feeling love, not only being loved, but having love and feeling that within yourself. And then as you move into that end result, I want you actually to picture something that you would see in that end result. What is something that you would be doing in that end result, so you can attach it to an action? What does your life look like in that end result? And I want you now to write down the emotions and then just draw a circle around it. And if you haven't written it down, in your mind's eye, I want you to imagine that in a bubble, those emotions, that image of that desired end result. I want you to put that in a bubble in the right-hand side of your mind's eye. And now I want to bring you back to the present. I want to bring you back to where you are today. How does it feel today? How different does it feel to that end result? And this may be just shifting the current relationship you're in. This could be that you want your current relationship to change. You want to create a soul relationship from your present relationship. So what does it feel like today? Does it feel like overwhelming? Does it feel that it's too much? Is there a feeling of lack? Does it feel unattainable? You can write whatever it is, what does it feel in the current moment? Maybe it feels optimistic. Maybe you feel like this is doable. This is something that I can achieve. I feel excited. Maybe you have excitement about the current reality. You feel excited in the present moment. Or maybe you feel sad that you don't have it, or maybe you feel like, oh, is it ever going to get here? Like, maybe you feel exhausted, maybe you're lacking energy to move towards that end result. And then I want you to draw a circle around where you are in the present. And you can draw a line, and if you're doing this in your mind's eye, you can do this as well. Drawing a line from where you are now to where you're going in the present. And I want you to actually think, what are some of the beliefs that you have active now that have created your current reality? So maybe one of them is, I'm not good enough. Maybe it's that, that things have to be perfect. Maybe it's that, I need to lose some weight first, or I need to become more financially secure, or maybe there's reasons why you can't have, you're creating reasons why you can't have it now, so that you believe things need to be perfect. Maybe it's you feel powerless. Maybe you're in a relationship that you feel you can't leave, so you feel powerless. That could be one. Or maybe it's you just don't trust. Maybe you have trust issues. Maybe you feel unworthy of love. Maybe that's a belief that you've taken from childhood. Maybe there was someone that made you feel that way once, and so that's affirmed this limiting belief structure. And then the next question I want to ask you is, do you know that it's possible? Do you have optimism? Do you know that it's possible to create change, for you to have this end result? Do you know someone that's done it? And if you don't know anyone that's done it, I can tell you I've done it. Moved from feeling powerless to being in a loving soul relationship, and it is possible. So I want to tell you, to give you that optimism, to give you that hope that yes, it is possible to move from where you are now to where you want to be. So now we've created the structural tension. I want to move into the recode, and it doesn't take too long. So thank you for being with me today. I want to give you the metaphor of the superconscious. I explained the superconscious as your higher state of being. I explained that, we give instructions to the unconscious mind. And what I want you now to see it as a metaphor, as a superconscious being a football field. It's a football field, and the goalposts are your end result. The goalposts are your end result. That's desired, that beautiful, loving relationship, that soul relationship. Maybe it's your soul family you're looking for. Maybe it's your soul partner you're looking for. That desired, or maybe you're hoping that the relationship you're in is going to evolve into that soul relationship. That's what you're working towards. And you're running towards that end result. And as you start running towards that end result, I want you to imagine that there were these gopher holes and potholes that pop up on the field that are preventing you from moving forward. They're preventing you from getting to your goalposts. And these are your limiting beliefs. And these are your family entanglements or ancestral sabotage programs. These are your broken agreements that maybe others have made with you, or the rules that you've created on what relationships need to be. So they're preventing you, this is about your identity, they're preventing you from moving forward. And as you start running forward, the holes start showing up. And this is where, as the witness, then gives instructions. Superconscious, I command that you brush the dirt into the holes, into the potholes, and it pads it down and clears this field. So you have a clear running field. So this is the metaphor. So the unconscious understands what is happening, that we're not changing anything. We're not saying something didn't happen or it doesn't exist. What we're doing is removing emotional attachment and creating wisdom to past experiences and events. Past emotions, experience, and events that trigger your progression, your growth. We're just asking to brush the dirt in so they no longer are preventing you from moving forward. So you're moving from emotional stress or emotional triggers to wisdom. So nothing is taken away, no parts will die, no identities disappear. It's just we move into one aspect of ourselves, which is the creator, the conscious creator identity. So I'd just like you to close your eyes. If you have any questions, now's the time just to put it in the text box. But otherwise, we're just going to go through. It's like a meditative process. And if you haven't done it before, just relax. And like I said, just be open-minded. Just be open-minded that we are unlimited beings and we are creators and we can shift and change from our resistance. So you can understand, I want you to feel into that end result, the end result that you want to create. And I want you now just to give it a number. What is your resistance to this end result? Is it a 10 being absolute resistance? There's no way I can have this. Is it a 7? You know, I've got a little bit of resistance, but I'm hopeful. Or is it 0 and saying I'm already there? I'm already in that. I'm already jumping into that soul relationship. I'm walking the talk. I'm already it. So just write a number. It doesn't matter. The first number that comes to your head. It's not that important. It's just for you to see a difference at the end. And if there is a difference, or there might not be, but depending on how long this resistance has been active. So I want you to close your eyes. Just relax, roll your shoulders back. Superconscious, are you there? Superconscious, do you see the resistance to this end result of creating a soul relationship? Moving into a life that you love and with a soul partner, soul relationship. Do you see all the resistance around this choice? Are all identities and aspects ready to be part of the treatment plan? Superconscious, please speak to the perfectionist aspect. Please speak to the inner child and the victim. And please speak to the wounded feminine, the wounded feminine. Please speak to the wounded feminine that's been active in this line for a long time. And please treat the wounded feminine going back to the very original event. Please treat the active identity of the wounded feminine, and please treat this in the best and perfect way. Thank you. Superconscious, can we please look at the belief systems? Can we look at the belief systems that are in place that are preventing moving forward? And can we imprint new beliefs? Can we look at the beliefs of I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, I need to be perfect? Can we please treat these belief systems in the best and highest way and go to the original event where these belief systems became active? Please pull this from the timeline to a massive change history and everything else that's needed, and imprint with new belief systems. I am enough. I am perfect just the way I am. I am lovable. I am worthy. And imprint this new belief system on all 4 levels of belief, on the core level, ancestral history, and soul level. Please treat this in the best and perfect way. Thank you. Superconscious, please treat any other beliefs around identity. Any other beliefs around identity, please treat that in the best and perfect way. Thank you. Superconscious, can we please look at the alignment to the following statements? I trust, I deserve a soul relationship, I deserve to be loved, I trust in myself, and I trust in the world. And please treat these statements and any resistance that is triggered by these statements in the best and perfect order. Thank you. Superconscious, can we please look at all definitions and rules that we've put in place, or other people or other systems have put in place, that prevent us from moving forward and opening our heart space to a soul relationship, to love, our rules about what a relationship looks like, what it has to be. Please treat this in the best and perfect way and the best and perfect order. Thank you. Superconscious, please treat the protector controller, the protector controller aspect of us. Please treat the memory of broken agreements from past relationships, broken agreements that others have made with you on all timelines, and the broken agreements you've made with others. And the protector controller that is holding that space, please treat that and let the aspect know that when you become part of the main personality, that you're going to feel more satisfaction, less pain. More satisfaction and less pain. When you let go of that aspect of yourself that needs to protect you from moving forward. Superconscious, can we please look at the events from the past? A past event. Just go to the original event and please treat all past events that trigger old emotions. Superconscious, can we look at the throat chakra? Can we look at the willingness and the ability to be manipulated and to not be tapped into your truth? Can we please treat the throat chakra front and back? Allow energy to move. Can we allow the heart chakra and the third eye to be not connected? One's bullying the other. Can we allow them to be individual and energy to flow freely front and back? From heart, throat to third eye. Thank you. Superconscious, please look at karmic contracts. Please look at all karmic contracts that we've made with lovers, that we've made with others, any karmic contracts that aren't serving us, in this time frame, please complete them and send them with love and light and replace with unconditional love. Can we look at any cords from old loves, front and back? Can we please remove them, send to the light and replace with unconditional love? And super conscious, can we look at the soul fragments? So all soul fragments that you have taken from other partners, lovers, all soul fragments that you have taken from other partners and lovers, please return to them washed with love and light. And all soul fragments that you have given or that has been taken from you, from past loves, from past partners, through trauma, please allow those soul fragments to be washed with love and light and sent back to you whole and complete. Thank you. It is done. It is done. Super conscious, can we please look at the collective? Any resistance of collective programming, please treat this in the best and perfect way. Please remove resistance and replace with unconditional love. Feeling open-hearted, feeling heart-centered. Super conscious, please treat all remaining resistance on all timelines. Please tag all resistance and bring it down to 0. After this session, please continue working. Super conscious, look at family entanglements. Any contracts made with parents, any family entanglements of how relationships need to be, any past trauma from childhood observing relationships, please treat this in the best and perfect order. And knowing that that's not your story, that you can choose different. Please treat all ancestral programming and family entanglements in the best and highest order. Thank you. Super conscious, please ground all memories that we've touched on today, quantum memories, tandem memories, ancestral, past life, future memories, past memories. Please ground memories 1, 2, and 3, conscious, unconscious, super conscious. Please ground them into the benevolent matrix of the universe. And please strengthen with positive memories, emotions, and beliefs. Thank you. It is done. It is done. It is done. Show me. And now I want you just to go into that end result. Feel into that end result of that soul partnership, that soul relationship, that love, that teamwork, moving together, being creators together, be it in your soul family, your soul partnership, and just enjoying the journey, that you're not alone, that you're connected, that you're whole, and that you're love. And feel into that moment, that feeling of love. And I want you now just to ask super conscious while we're in this state, or ask your higher self, what is my next step? What is my next step that I can take to get me that one step closer to this end result? What is the next step? And as you allow a download to come, and if nothing comes, that's okay. Maybe the next step is nothing. Maybe it'll come to you later. Maybe it'll be something that you receive at a later time, but putting it out there that you want guidance on what is my next step to move me closer to this end result. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And thank you for this session. If you've got any comments about how you feel, so tap into what your number feels now. Does it feel less? Has there been a big shift? Is it the same? Because if it's the same, that's fine too, because we have moved resistance, and maybe there is, you know, we've moved it. So next recode or next time you go and feel into this, it'll be less. And some people feel something the next day or a bit later when they have time to recalibrate what we've done here today. So I hope I've created a sense of curiosity to move forward, a sense of optimism, what's possible, what we can do, what we can achieve, and how we are powerful creative beings. And that having a soul relationship, creating a life that we love, and creating connections and friendships, partnerships, love interest, it's all possible. So, and I just want to go through now, if you want to continue with some more work, you can contact me directly. I am offering for everyone on this call an introduction recode. So I will send that out to, I think maybe however you contact me, I will send a message out, but I'm offering everyone an introductory recode session for $99. They're usually $180. So I'm offering everyone on the call, if you want to experience what we just did one-on-one, and we can get really clear about what you want to create and what your particular resistance is, the one-on-one session is the best way. So if you're looking at expanding, if you're looking at creating and you want to know what my next step is, that could be it. So I'm so grateful that you joined me today. This is one of my favorite topics. I'm going to take off the live now. I know better. Here we go.